What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. So, of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. And take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
All right, we got the first one of the week here on My Cowboys Family, but we're still continuing last week's tallies and totals. So, we're going to announce, throughout the rest of the last couple of days here, the people that may be taking over the boards for next week as we get 1 week closer to training camp. But we got a lot of stuff to discuss tonight. We're live for a reason. There's a couple of topics that need to be touched on that kind of came up today. So we're going to roll through that and more here on My Cowboys Family. But before we go there, let's shout out those people that are currently repping these boards right now here on this channel on My Cowboys Family. And you see his name above there. You see his name as a sponsor of the week. It's the man Lincoln Kane, LC, all the way from Australia, repping that star for everything. Sponsor of the week last week. And also last week, he is our Cash App King, holding it down.
Down under.
Hey, and on the After Dark sessions, too. He went nuts up there. But the point is, he is currently, holding on to the board here on this is the second week we're still doing this the numbers here, the tallies. So he's going in this week as the champion here, of course, in the second week, but it's really it's one full week. But who's in the lead on these same boards here, on the overall board and the Cash App board? It is still Lincoln Kane. Yeah, he's coming for that top spot, and on this Sunday night we will wrap it up. And if he holds it down, he will be back to back as our sponsor of the week and the Cash App King, like our 90s Cowboys. Big shout out to Lincoln Kane. Big shout out to Godless Manitoban, who's got holding it down with 23 points on the stream boss. Trying to hang on there, all the way from Canada. And then, of course, above, you'll see the gifting board, and you got Mr. J-LEW, 44, 8 out of 9 weeks in a row. He's been dominating that gifting membership board. But the leaders this week are a little different names here. Well, at least one of them is Brandon J. and Skeptical Fan, both tied for first place currently for this week. One apiece. No J-LEW in sight yet. We'll see what happens as the week comes to a close here. This week, we're just in the middle of the week, basically. Tuesday night. Going to break it down for you guys. But, we'll have probably a Friday and a Sunday stream this week if no crazy news comes out. But anyways, that's the boards. I want to make sure I shout out everybody out there. There's also a lot of different ways of dropping the love from above. Of course, the super chats. There's the thanks button. You could jump into membership, and there's gifting membership. But there's 4 other ways you can affect not just the overall board, but especially the Cash App crown. How are those ways, baby?
Of course, you have the Cash App, money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen like a super chat does. Hey. Speaking of super chats, the man Skeptical Fan kicking things off on the official side of things here with a $2 holler.
J-LEW too. We're going to talk about J-LEW tonight. What did the man say? The man staying skeptical.
He said, "Stop the choke, 2024." Yeah, I think we need to lower our expectations and just hope that the thing that we choke on is like water at this point, or our own spit, which is I feel like is a little more in line with what happens here around these parts.
Yeah, I don't know. Look,
thank you
Cowboys
so much,
seem to always choke in the end, but the point is,
at this point, we choke on air.
Listen, the all in, the moment Jerry Jones said all in and we didn't go all in, is the moment the choking began and ended. So we suffocated at that moment for this season, it feels like. But hey, some people have a feeling this year might be different. Yeah, I'm gonna reserve that till I see it. You know what I mean? I know I'm always gonna stay skeptical, just like the man Skeptical Fan. Appreciate you. Big shout out to him. And he's in the top 5 of the board up there. You saw his name pass. By the way, I do want to shout out a couple other people that were dropping the love here, when we were, off of MCF after dark. I mean, off of MCF here, My Cowboys Family on Monday and Tuesday. We did have a Sunday night and a Monday night stream. So let me shout out a couple people here. First off, actually, in the membership side, Marissa Sparkle, back in that star level. And Amazing Games back in the Navy Blue crew. Also shouting out Dark Raven, Dave B, Dave Brown, and Pat Pfeiffer, who all dropped the love on the After Dark session, as well as J-LEW 44 on the After Dark, and Queefy. Yeah, you guys know who that bitch is. Then you know who we're talking about. Anyway, she also dropped some love, I guess. Anyways, these are the ways you can drop the love. But there's also ways we shout out people here on the nightly and give the big thank you to them. And it starts with the membership side of things, because you got
shout out to the navy blue,
and the silver,
the star, over everything.
Yeah, but as you can see here, the star and over everything, extra special perks for them. Silver gets this Friday shout outs, but every night, star and over everything get the shout outs and also entered into this monthly jersey raffle. We just had our raffle this past Sunday, I think, for the month of June, and the man McLovin took it down. Another victory for him there, another jersey. So big congrats to McLovin. But that's for the weekly winners. They get a chance too. I think him and LC were the 2 weekly winners, and they get bonus entries that way. That's one way of getting into this raffle. Sewn and stitched jersey of your choice. It's about 40 different choices to choose from. Styles, sizes. You see some examples here. Yes, and it's the star and over everything level membership. Star gets 1 entry. Over everything gets 2 entries. And the weekly winners, well, if you win 4 weeks in a row, Tim, you get 4 entries and really up your chances to win one of these fantastic jerseys. So big shout outs to everybody in the star level membership and the over everything level membership, which hopefully we'll hear from Mr. Over Everything here. Mr. Seabass. We'll see what happens. Baby, let me do the shout outs, baby, real quick here on the star and over everything level.
Of course, can't shout out the star member without shouting out Skeptical Fan. Always stay skeptical. J-LEW 44. Dwayne Broussard, the top dog. The man running things currently, Mr. LC.
Lincoln
Marissa
Kane.
Sparkle. Much love to DeLunatic, the man, and over everything, Seabass.
Yeah, so appreciate you. Hopefully Seabass comes on the show, makes it on the show, maybe this weekend, possibly. We'll see what happens. Now, baby, it's your turn. Take over and shout out.
Well, shout out to me. I'm great.
Yes, of course that. But shouting out everybody in the chat tonight.
Of course.
Who's in the house?
Thank you very much to Asmodeus here representing. Much love to you. Of course, Skeptical Fan always staying skeptical. And yes, we got to stop the joke. Spoony Dog, what's up? Hello and hi. Thomas Garrett, the superior. Garrett.
Sorry, I was in the background, guys. I was fixing something on the bar, and I came over after fixing the bar.
All good. Dano Berry Sports Highlights, what's up? You have the man Double R representing. J-LEW 44, shout out to you and Cowboys Nation as well.
Yeah. Freedom
First, looks like he was first tonight. Good for you. Revelation Journalist, what's up? Thanks for joining us here. I have to admit, that comment was a little funny. He said, Dak just started a new ritual called the Walking Boot Hold-In Contract Negotiations. Bag over everything, according to the players.
Hey, it's about getting what you're worth. The market. We talked about this 4 or 5 years ago. Do we have to talk about it again? Explain the market to everybody? Yeah, that's the market. No matter about the Super Bowls, no matter about success necessarily. It depends on franchise quarterback.
If you're a burger flipper and all the other burger flippers are making $100 an hour and you're the only one only making $40, you're going to have something to say about it at some point. It doesn't matter how good they are at flipping burgers over you.
It's called the market. And if you're good enough to be in the top, and you're going to get... He was the second guy in the league last year behind Mahomes, MVP-wise. I mean, Dak's going to get top dollar, and right now, I don't know about holdout or what's going on, or if he can win the games enough. But it's a team sport, not a player person. If you're comparing players, we're going to talk about that a little later. Dak and Jalen Hurts gets compared. I mean, pretty much everybody agrees Dak's better than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but as a Dak team, and the Joneses know if those boots are made for walking.
Yeah, but as a team, you got the boot thing is one thing, but as a team, you got the Eagles who probably have more weapons than the Cowboys overall, and the last couple of years and on offense, and that's kind of part of the argument that we'll discuss a little later. The discussion about the team is maybe better in Philly with Jalen Hurts, but if you're just comparing players, Dak's better. Anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit and more here on MCF. But baby, any last comments there before we get it rolling for the NFL news side of things?
Thomas Garrett, it sounds good to say it. Superior Garrett. So, but no, I'm ready if you're ready.
Let's go. So, just NFL news here. Stephen A. Smith, he's probably going to land a 5-year deal worth up to $125 million on his next contract with ESPN. You don't have to even play sports. Sources have relayed that his new compensation could eventually come in between $20 and $25 million per year over a 5-year span, compared to like other people that other announcers that have 5-year deals, like Troy Aikman,
okay,
like Joel Aragoin.
Thank you for summing it up.
Welcome to the family. Appreciate you. But Troy Aikman has a 5-year deal, $90 million. All right, there's a 5-year deal for McAfee, $85 million. 5-year deal for Buck, and he's getting $75 million. So Stephen A. Smith's going to get $125 million, it sounds like. $100 to $125 million. So we'll see what happens there. Not that I really give a damn, but since he's the biggest Cowboy-ish talker, gotta kind of keep an eye on him.
If that doesn't show you that you literally get paid more to hate on us,
yeah,
it feels like that extra money is coming from the Cowboy hateration federation.
They know how to keep feeding the Cowboy haters, and they keep feeding them with paychecks and bullcrap so that they can keep spreading that, and that's what gets the clicks and the views. It's the Cowboys. It's that star. So on other fronts here, when it comes to non-Cowboy stuff, drama continues with something kind of interesting here. Broncos quarterback, remember Zach Wilson?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, with the Jets. He's with the Broncos now. Remember, he was accused of going after older women, moms, MILFs.
Yeah.
Anyways, his ex-girlfriend is Abby Gilly, I think how you say her name. Mm-hmm. She's now engaged to his former roommate and current Commanders wide receiver, Dax Milne. Or Milne. I don't know if I'm saying it. But anyways, Wilson got engaged to Nicolette Delano last week. But Gil, who was his ex-girlfriend, now is with Commanders wide receiver Dax Milne. Gil has accused Wilson of sleeping with his best friend's mother, which we knew that already from the past of him, kind of cheating on her with her mother, like an older woman. He just got engaged to Nicolette Delano, who's not an older woman. But again, the woman that he was with is now with his ex, former roommate, which is kind of interesting. I guess they keep it in the family. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
That sounds like some Sweet Home Alabama type of situation. I'm gonna just
a lot of mixing and matching.
Yeah,
going on by those guys. Anyways, now quarterbacks. Joe Burrow. I found this interesting since it's almost Olympic time here, right? Mm-hmm. And Joe Burrow, and no Olympics with flag football this time around, but in 4 years from now, in 2028, I think
it's going to be eligible.
Yeah,
then, right?
it's going to be official. I mean, there's going to be flag football Olympic sport there, and Joe Burrow said that he wants to play for the Olympic flag football team. So it's interesting that NFL player is really out there, willing to represent the country in football and flag football, and who's getting paid, multi-million. I mean, $55 million a year.
I wonder if that would even be allowed in per his contract.
I don't know, That's a good question. But again, his focus is in 2024 is playing quarterback for the Bengals. But in 2028, he feels like he's going to be able to really go into into the Olympics in 2028 for flag football. 2028 is when flag football becomes an Olympic event at the Summer Olympics. It's going to be in Los Angeles. And he said on Part of My Take this week that he would not mind being part of the U.S. team. He suggested he'd like to try to get former LSU teammate Justin Jefferson back in an offense with him and Jamar Chase, going back to the college days. He said, quote, "I really want to play for the Olympic flag football team like me, Jamar, Justin, me, my friends out there playing football. I think it'd be pretty cool." Now, he also said it would be embarrassing for the United States to not win the gold medal for the first time that flag football is played on an Olympic level. It's not clear whether or not he'll actually be involved in making sure that doesn't happen. But NFL, again, having NFL players on the field would be a good way of improving the chances of taking the prize. But I will say this. You can run flag football in so many different ways. It's almost like its own different sport. And sometimes like a Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and these guys might be great. And I don't know how that would work on the field, going down playing kind of quote-unquote regular football in flag football kind of mode. But I've seen, flag football leagues, and they snap the ball, throw the ball back and backwards and backward, and then they launch it 80 yards. I'm just saying, like, it's not the same idea as you see like in to win flag football. It's not going to be like NFL football.
Yeah, maybe this is a job for the USFL and those types of leagues,
or maybe flag football like professionals, because I do believe that they might have a better chance to win than even the pros. Now, quarterback himself, that could be a viable position. There's certain positions that are probably worth more than others when it comes to flag football, but
I feel like receiver is probably the easiest one to translate in the sense of, you're still running routes, you're still more or less doing everything you're going to do except for some of the blocking.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
outside
it's
of
more
that,
about
it's probably the easiest to just translate straight to the flag football.
Yeah, I think also they got, we've seen flag football actual tournaments before with grown adults, and they throw the receivers have to learn to throw the ball as well. They got to throw the ball backwards, or sometimes they take a lateral pass and throw it down the field. So it's got to be you just can't have like a player that just does one thing. I think in flag football, especially, you got to play defense. Look, it'll be interesting. I just don't know how many NFL players will be involved in as many NFL players will be involved in this as people think, as Joe Burrow may think. Either way, that's 4 years away. Now let's talk about. And again, I was going to say this being the fact that the Cowboys are going to be involved in the FIFA World Cup, and you look at MetLife's field in New Jersey for the Giants and Jets field. MetLife Stadium, they had the Copa America tonight, American Cup.
Yeah.
Soccer, and the quality of the grass field for that at MetLife Stadium, it was all divots. It was all torn up after the games. They rush it out there. This kind of like peat. It's like fake grass, but it's kind of it's grass. It's real grass, but they grow it, but it's like in an advanced way. It's just a scientific way of growing it. But the point is, when you rush that, it's easier to leave divots in a ruined field. That's what MetLife looks like. Now, when you compare it to what's going on at AT&T Stadium, in the quality of the grass, I'm going to talk about the smoking kind. The quality of the grass on AT&T's stadium's field for the real grass for the soccer tournaments, and they've had some of these tournaments already there. Incredible shape. So when you compare MetLife rushing it, using them cheap stuff, whatever it may be, compared to MetLife Stadium, which is top notch, there's no comparison in the way the fields look after the matches are played. Of course, remember, they gave the championship game there to MetLife Stadium instead of AT&T, which pissed off Jerry Jones. So you're going to see the stadium, AT&T Stadium, when it comes to the soccer stuff and real grass, you're going to see probably the best fields, the best stadiums, the best everything going to be at AT&T Stadium for the World Cup. So just want to throw that out there. A little comparison between MetLife's crappy fucking field and the Cowboys' beautiful field when it comes to the upcoming soccer World Cup. So, and I can slide over to Washington Commanders. So why not? They have the really shittiest stadium of all, right? The Commanders, I do have to announce something from them. They are officially back in their gold pants. They're back in their rotation because it's their 92nd birthday for the team. And the Commanders announcing that, again, they're going to return to their gold pants, paying homage to their history. All right, so just a little
Seems like
side
we're
note
hearing
there.
a lot of throwback uniforms.
Yeah, I mean,
this
the
year.
Giants have got a 100-year anniversary. They're going to go way back.
Eagles are wearing those Kelly Green outfits
from the
or
70s
something.
and 80s. Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of different uniforms mixed and matched this year. You already know our uniforms. Anyways, now I did want to say a little side note from the I guess you could say from the front office side of things. Carolina Panthers, former Carolina Panther Vice President of Player Personnel, Adrian Wilson, former player, was arrested today on 3 charges of domestic violence. In Arizona, Scottsdale police reported that. So again, something to keep an eye on for the Panthers and trying to rebuild their little image, their team, and not a good start there. And then I want to throw out a couple free agent names before we get to the Cowboys, because it is a quicker stream tonight. So, Leonard Fournette, guys, a running back out there who I actually said, hey, maybe last year, the year before that, we could have taken a chance with a bruiser like him. We got Zeke. Leonard Fournette, guys, was involved in a car accident last year that kind of kept him out of the whole season. If I'm not mistaken, there, kind of injured and was unable to have a full season last year in the NFL. He is motivated to continue his career. He's intending to sign with a team. Not obviously he's hoping a team will sign him before the season begins, and he's hired his former agent Ari Nissim and Pat Capra. Both of these people, both these agents are from Chaser Legend, to help in that pursuit to get back to the NFL. Basically, they're saying that Leonard Fournette is in the best shape of his career, and he will have and the expectation is he will have a home soon. I love hearing this. This is a time of season you always hear everybody is how they're in the best shape of their career. We saw Tyron Smith getting married the other day. best shape of his career, I guess. Still, right? I mean, he was dancing on the dance floor. I guess he was. He didn't go in IR after that dancing. So, yeah, that's one view there of what was going down for Leonard Fournette, a free agent. That's kind of right back in the mix. Although I don't think the Cowboys will not. I do not see the Cowboys going after Leonard Fournette in any way. Not after the accident, not after being out of football. And again, we got Zeke now. It's kind of the same job that Fournette would be doing. And then the other player, I guess, that's kind of in the news when it comes to unfortunate situations. Steelers cornerback Cam Sutton. He was suspended without pay for the first 8 games of the 2024 regular season. So what was this violation? It was a NFL's personal conduct violation. So he's missing 8 games of the season. The Steelers starting cornerback. The NFL investigated in March an incident involving Sutton, and they determined that he did violate the personal conduct policy. He will be eligible for reinstatement on October 29th, that's following the Steelers' Week 8 game against the Giants. So against the Giants, they don't get their starting cornerback Cam Sutton. Of course, they also, when you look at our schedule, we also don't have to see Cameron Sutton. If I'm correct here, not that it matters, not that he's a make or break kind of guy there, right? But the point is, let me see if I can find the schedule here. Yeah, there it is.
And
so,
what exactly was it that he did again in March? Because I'm just saying. I
was holding off for a reason, but you can see we do get the Steelers there before he comes back from his suspension. Now, I do want to say his discipline is officially final. He is not even appealing this. Okay. All right. 8 games, personal conduct. What was it? He faced misdemeanor battery charges from a March incident where he, this was resolved now, but he did enter a pretrial diversion program in April and then signed with the Steelers last month. So whatever he did was bad enough, the NFL said, we're giving you 8 games. And whatever he did was bad enough that he's not even appealing it. So a lot of people were surprised.
Misdemeanor battery, obviously he beat someone's ass.
Yeah, we don't know what if it was domestic
that's
violence.
That's all we know. He beat someone's ass.
It was a fight, and again, whatever it was, obviously it's frowned upon for the shield of the NFL. But Steelers, they signed Patrick Peterson as a veteran cornerback for their roster last year. Now, after letting him go, they said, you know what? And they picked up Cam Sutton in March or last month. I'm sorry. So in May. Now they don't have Patrick Peterson, and now they don't have Cam Sutton for half the season. Yeah. So their depth chart there on the cornerback side is very weak right now, very thin. So what a lot of people are saying right now for the first few weeks of the season, the first half of the season, we might see in Week 5 against us, Stephon Gilmore.
I was just about to say, I'm like,
cornerback,
is that's still available, that's looking for a home, that has now found himself in a position where there's a few desperate teams out there. So now you have someone like Stephon Gilmore high on the list, let's say, for the Pittsburgh Steelers to try to sign him, bring him in, and help their depth because they are shot right now when it comes to their cornerback spot for the first 8 weeks of the season. So just a little side note there on the Cameron Sutton situation. Staying with that though for our Cowboys, yes, and it's one of the topics of today. It is Jordan Lewis, cornerback Jordan Lewis. Now, I'm bringing him up for a very specific reason. Earlier today, and I'll put Jordan Lewis up there, the J-LEW 2. Thank you, Skeptical Fan, who dropped the love. By the way, that put Mr. Godless to 20 points on the stream, boss. Oh, there you go.
$20 holler away from taking over Godless's,
stream boss.
Bossing of the stream. So
formerly known as the Tony Pollard holler.
Yeah, formerly Tony Pollard. Now it's the Redrick is it Shedwine? I don't know.
Red wine?
Red wine. Shedrick.
Red
wine. Holler. $20 holler. Anyways, this is not the same. So Detroit Lions, right? Wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was on a show called the Pivot. It's like a podcast, and he discussed about shit talkers in the NFL. And one of them he brought up was this guy right here, number 2, Jordan Lewis. He said that Jordan Lewis is a trash talker. And here's the quote from Amon-Ra St. Brown. Quote, one guy that comes to mind is Jordan Lewis. I think that's his name. From the Cowboys. I don't talk much unless someone is going to talk to me. I block hard. I do all that. But he was talking crazy. Some shit I've never heard before. I'm like, yo, hold on. I'm going to have to go hard on this. He was talking crazy. He was talking out of pocket. J-Mo heard it too, and he was coming in. At that point, it's like, I don't know what he's saying, but I'm trying to make plays and win the game. I'm not worried about him. But once he starts talking like that, if I do get a chance to kill him, I'm going to kill him. End quote. Now, that was his little jab at Jordan Lewis. Now, first thing is, he said he didn't know his name. Let me just break it down for Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a Pro Bowler and all. Great for him. But a reminder for him, Jordan Lewis had, in the games against the Lions, had 2 game-changing interceptions. Himself, like Jordan Lewis, that wasn't the Cowboy defense. Jordan Lewis had a pick 2 years ago that broke his foot on, but it changed the game. It locked the game down for us. Jordan Lewis picked, I think was it Goff at the time? I don't know, but he picked off the quarterback and kind of helped seal the game. Did it again last year as well. Changed the game. Let me just say something. There is no way in hell Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't know who Jordan Lewis is. Especially that Jordan Lewis is a slot corner, and Amon-Ra St. Brown usually, tucked in the slot.
Yeah. Am I the only one who really wants to know what kind of insulting shit-talking Jordan Lewis did / said? Because I'm taking notes. Like, you said stuff that not impressed necessarily, but you had an NFL football player on the field saying that's trash talking I've never heard in my life before. Like,
yeah,
I want to know. I want to know. Sorry.
It was out of pocket, and it's so bad that if he had a chance to kill him, he'd kill him. I think Jordan Lewis won the trash talking battle there.
Yeah.
But
especially if, you're still thinking about it all these years later. You're thinking about it so hard.
Well,
forgot
months later, I guess. Yeah, exactly. You ain't going to be forgetting Jordan Lewis from 2 years ago, from this past year. And that's Jordan Lewis with the broken foot this past year, too. Although he was already kind of much better by the time they played later in the season. We played the Lions.
Well, Amon-Ra St. Brown was part of the team 2 years ago, right? Yep. When he... Okay, so that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Like, all these years later. He definitely knows who Jordan Lewis is. For the last
2 years, trust me, he knows who Jordan Lewis is. And, again, faced off against him both years, back-to-back. You got to remember, too, he's a Detroit Lion. But who's from Detroit? It's Jordan Lewis from Detroit. So Lewis caught wind of this situation. Of course, he's a Detroit native, and he addressed it on Instagram, saying, "quote with all these quotes I just read from Amon-Ra St. Brown while he was interviewed, he had above that saying, quote, it's only for y'all, for real." And so again, like it's basically he's saying like this is only for you that we do this shit talking for people. Teams like you, like players like you. Yeah. So he was shit talking, and then he added, elaborated a little bit more after that by saying, "quote This is what Jordan Lewis said. Quote: I am passionate about my craft, and I don't want to be friends with everyone, especially a Detroit Lion not from Detroit." So a couple extra shots there, fired back at Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I just want to make sure we all put some respect on Jordan Lewis's abilities. Now, I still believe it'd be nice to have another outside cornerback because you can move DaRon Bland to that slot, and he, I believe, is even better than Jordan Lewis and better DaRon Bland in the slot position. But the Cowboys are going to run, looks like, with DaRon Bland on the outside, which means Jordan Lewis will start as our nickel or slot cornerback. But let's just look at his numbers because when he's in there and he's outside of, I'd say, half this past season, the first half of the year he played, he was back to normal after that. And when he's normal, when he's good to go and he's healthy, he's a top 10 slot nickel cornerback in the NFL, which is a hard thing to kind of find someone that can give you that nickel cornerback coverage game in and game out. Jordan Lewis finished in 2023, which again was not his best season because he was coming back from that broken foot. But he finished 2023 among the top 10 slot cornerbacks in coverage in the NFL. So he was a top 10 slot corner, even with the average year he had last year. And he was also ranked number 1 as a slot cornerback against the run, regardless of snap alignment. And that important thing to note is that when you're a slot corner, where are you usually playing? You're playing closer to the you're not playing on the outside. You're playing kind of in the middle of the field a little bit there and closer to the line of scrimmage. So you need to be good in the run stopping side of things. And he's the best nickel corner stopping the run and run support. Let's just put it that way. Regardless if he's playing forward, backs, playing man or zone, doesn't matter. When he's in the slot, he's dominant in stopping and helping stop the run. Now, some numbers from 2023 from Jordan Lewis. He allowed only 48 catches against them. He had 69 targets against them. He allowed 48 catches. He also allowed 263 yards after the catch by him was allowed. He also allowed 3 touchdowns in the slot. He had 1 pick in the slot and 5 pass breakups, which, by the way, overall he was the 8th highest graded nickel slot cornerback in coverage in the NFL, number 1 against the run. So 8th best cover guy in the slot, not overall, not best cornerback. I'm saying slot corner, nickel corner, 8th best by the PFF analytics, and number 1 by the run stopping analytics. In run support, he had a 91.0. That is elite run stop ability from Jordan Lewis. One of the reasons why the Cowboys still keep him on the team.
Yeah.
And he is the highest graded cornerback in the NFL when it comes to run support. And I don't mean slot. I mean anywhere.
Okay.
Any cornerback. He's the best. He
Lewis
is the best run support guy in the NFL with the grades, with the elite numbers. And in coverage, he's 8th best specifically in the slot corner, nickel cornerback spot.
It sucks because I truly think Jordan Lewis could be one of the great running backs of like.
You mean cornerbacks?
Sorry, I know. Sorry,
one of the best cornerbacks.
Yeah, if he was a little taller, that was literally my only point.
If he was a baller.
If he was, yeah, no, I do think his height holds him back from competing amongst the. Trayvon Diggses of the world currently. Yeah. I mean, the physicality is where he lacks a little bit, but again, it's in the slot, in the nickel. It's hard to, you're not gonna have a tall guy in the slot usually, so you're gonna have a smaller guy, a less physical guy in the slot, in the corner, in the nickel cornerback spot. But that's where I believe why he is one of the best nickel corners in the league, because he is feisty, he is tough to get away from, and he does very well in small areas. So. Good to see Jordan Lewis back on here. Again, will he be the 8th best coverage guy now when he's getting many more snaps? We'll have to wait and see. But remember, right after Trayvon Diggs went down after week 2, and he got hurt in the middle of the week of week 2 to 3, and we didn't see him the rest of the year. So the rest of the year we had Jordan Lewis playing slot. Yeah. So he basically coming back from that injury as well. It was kind of an unfortunate 1-2 punch there for us. But yeah, he did a fantastic job there, right? So as Stick Aguilera 4 said, Jordan with the 2, game-changing interceptions with the Saints, and then again 2023 with the Lions. And then Asmodeus is asking, then why the hell are we getting torched in the run game?
Well, you just can't do it. You just can't stop the run with Jordan Lewis as your slot corner run stopper. He's doing a great job, but some of the other guys might not be doing such a good job in setting the edge on the defensive line. Some of our guys, and I believe that's the biggest issue in the run stop situation, is that our defensive linemen are, whether it's Mozzie Smith or whoever, are not taking on double teams efficiently enough to keep linebackers clean so they can go in there and make the tackles in run support, in the run stop. So I believe Jordan Lewis is just a great helper. If we didn't have him, we'd be even worse in stopping the run. Imagine that, right? So yeah, that's kind of the breakdown
I'd rather
there.
Not, thanks.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. But we got Jordan Lewis this year. Knock on wood, he stays healthy. If he does stay healthy, he'll be a top 10 nickel cornerback in the NFL. I believe he'll do it again. And again, one of the top run stoppers and run supporters in the NFL from that spot. So we'll see what happens. But I had to throw it out there today. I had to speak about it because the ish talking is beginning, and it's now the Lions are talking shit to a native Detroit guy here in Jordan Lewis, and he was taking none of it. So good to see him fire back and give his 2 cents on the situation. Now, I did mention Tyron Smith, not a Cowboy anymore, now a Jet. Tyron Smith this past weekend on Sunday tied the knot and officially finally got married with his wife Holly.
Yeah, they've been together
for a while.
Long
yeah,
time.
They have kids and everything, but they finally got married officially. And at this wedding, I mean, you see the video, he's dancing. I thought he was gonna be out for 6 to 8 weeks after trying to make some of those moves, but La'el Collins was there. So was Cam Irving. These are former offensive linemen for the Cowboys. Yeah, they were listed as groomsmen for Tyron Smith's wedding. And Dak Prescott, well, not a groomsman, but he was also there attending this Tyron Smith's wedding, and he was there supporting his former blindside left tackle protector.
Yes.
But a big congrats to Tyron Smith and his wife Holly Smith. So
I mean, not to be that person, but I'm surprised there weren't more Dallas Cowboy players.
I'm sure there were.
Just offensive linemen.
I'm sure there were. I just, like Zach Martin, who knows? Maybe they couldn't make it, but the point is...
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not...
We don't know who was confirmed and not confirmed.
Trouble in paradise, so to speak, as far as, like, the friendship between these gentlemen anymore. I'm just saying that I'm surprised there wasn't a bigger turnout from the O-line.
Yeah, again,
that's literally...
He probably didn't have anybody from the Jets either, probably a bunch of his friends. It looked like it was a destination kind of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, he obviously is very good friends with L. Collins and Cameron Irving, who would play for the Cowboys for like 1 year.
Yeah.
But they got along very well, and obviously they were groomsmen. Pretty big deal there. So congrats to Tyron Smith and his wife, Holly, on their marriage. Now, there's a couple of youth camps. This is how we're going to end this stream tonight. I thought it was quick, but it's actually going to...
It's for the children.
It's for the kids. And Zeke, yes, Ezekiel Elliott, guys. He made his appearance at a youth camp. He hosted his, quote, Feed Zeke youth camp. He did this a couple days ago with pro camps through them. Again, great to have people loving seeing Zeke back in Texas and giving back to the community. So through pro camps, he had his Feed Zeke youth football camp. I think it was Sunday or Monday. I'm not even sure what day it was, but it was one of those days.
I do love seeing the players, give back to the youth.
But that's Ezekiel Elliott. Now let's talk about the guy we really want to know more about, and that's CeeDee Lamb. What the hell's going on with the contract? Well, here's the deal. He's got 3 dates he has set up for his youth football camp.
Okay.
All right? CeeDee Lamb hosted the first of 3 youth camps today, and it was in Round Rock. So let me just break it down for you guys. All-pro wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, using the offseason portion now here to negotiate, of course, a new contract with the Cowboys, that extension that he's waiting on. He's playing on that tag right now, right? Not the tag, but the 5th-year option, which is basically $18 million of unmovable money right there. It means we can't move it around the cap. It's got to pay it all out this year. CeeDee Lamb has been relatively silent, as we know, for most of the offseason. He stayed off of social media. We put up videos of him training on his own. Mm-hmm. He's done in some other youth camps as well, but he's not appeared at. He stepped away from the voluntary OTAs.
Okay.
Missed mandatory minicamp, held out. So we know we already know that if he don't get paid over $32 million, which is obvious, he should get paid at least that much. He wants to be traded. That's the word we're hearing, right? That's not really a big surprise. But I believe he will hold out if you don't get around that Justin Jefferson money, which is about $35 million. So on July 9th today, and tomorrow, July 10th, CeeDee Lamb is hosting 2 youth football camps in Texas. And then he has one more on July 20th, about a couple days before the Cowboys leave to Oxnard for training camp. And that one's going to be in Arlington on July 20th. But this makes the first time in this entire offseason that CeeDee Lamb is going to be in the public eye. Today was his first day.
So obviously everyone was, a little eager.
Yeah. And a lot of people, media, knowing that media will probably be there, there was going to be a chance now for the media for the first time to ask him an update on his contract negotiation situation with Jerry Jones and the Cowboy front office. So local media was present. And they were trying to ask questions surrounding a new deal and how that could arise, during the question and answer portion of these youth camp, days that he's there for. However, CeeDee Lamb, before this even started today, when his camp was announced and there was some kind of murmurs that, hey, they're going to ask him now about his contract situation, CeeDee Lamb stopped any possibility of taking the spotlight away from the kids and then putting it back on himself for this contract situation. He said this in a response on a tweet on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. CeeDee Lamb said this, quote, "I'm not speaking about any contract. I'm not speaking about any contract negotiations. If that's your questions, you'll get 0 answers. It's about the kids." So that was all CeeDee. That's the first comment, text, post he's ever put out there on Twitter in, a year and a half. So obviously a big enough deal that he's not talking about his contract, and he wanted to give all the media a little heads up before even attending this thing. He was not talking about anything about his contract negotiation.
Here for the children, which honestly I think was
best way
the right thing
about
to do.
best way of going about it.
Yeah.
So for this first, event at Round Rock in Texas, over 600 kids made their way there for a chance to meet CeeDee Lamb. You know, he spent the afternoon playing quarterback to all the kids in attendance. 600 kids. So again, and not only that, 600 kids, but there was over 1,500 people present in there.
You can't just let your kid go by himself.
Of course.
You have to, supervise.
Both parents got to show. But so, again, 1,500 people present. The light was all shining on CeeDee Lamb, but it was the kids who had a really great experience out there. But
As it should be.
Yeah, but the thing is this. A lot of reporters, of course, they try to ask CeeDee Lamb questions about his contract negotiation update. CeeDee Lamb, quote, declined an interview about any topic, including his contract and training camp and holding out and all that stuff. So he's not talking contract. He's not talking holding out. He's not talking contracts, holdouts, training camp. He ain't talking anything except about this youth camp. And he held true to that. I mean, I'm talking about like Dallas Cowboy reporters were there, and he denied them any questions as well. A few fans in the stands, fans that were there in front of him, kind of pressed him and kind of said, hey, what's going on? You going to sign soon? What's going on with the contract situation? And all he did was just smile back. He just smiled back. And, everything about today's event at this youth camp for CeeDee Lamb's youth camp, everything stayed about the kids and about his youth camp as it was expected. Tomorrow, July 10th, he has another one in Texas. And it's going to be a similar situation. He's going to smile when people ask. He says he's going to say no comment when the reporters ask him. So if you wonder why we're not live tomorrow, why we're not talking about CeeDee Lamb's new possible interviews on July 10th, it's because he ain't doing any interviews. Now, unless he signs tomorrow, I guess then we'll change it up. But if he's going to be attending these camps and not speaking on this, and again another one coming on July 20th, if he's not signed by July 20th, I mean he's holding out a training camp probably, and that means that it doesn't matter what that means for the fans or for the reporters, right? He's not talking about that. He's keeping that straight, all that stuff out of the limelight as much as possible, and try to do that behind the scenes with his agent and Jerry Jones. We'll see if anything gets done.
Yeah,
but it doesn't seem very positive for CeeDee's contract to get done in time without a holdout of some sort, like we had with Zach Martin last year.
Yeah, and AOD said, "What the fuck are we doing? Pay CeeDee."
Agreed. Oh, it's Jerry Jones and the Clown Show.
Times 10.
This is what happens with our front office, and again, unfortunately, it's not a surprise for us. We've been calling this Clown Show the Clown Show for years. We've been here for over 7 years doing this. We've been talking about. We don't do this. We don't hate. We want these clowns to do better. But they just keep clowning around every year, another fucking thing. And this year, it's like 8 different things. It's another fucking massive disaster by the front office. Once again, our own guy that we got an 88 to. And the Joneses are playing games. They're playing games. So
here, let me read these 2 comments real quick. First of all, appreciate you, Seabass. He said, man, I live 20 minutes from Round Rock. I had joked. I'm like, it's too bad. If I would have been there, I would have grabbed my youth jersey and tried to blend in with the kids, right? Like, hey, let's go to this camp. Oh, but Ready Red's comment cracked me up. He said, let's do pay, don't pay, and then trade. So pay CeeDee Lamb, don't pay Dak Prescott, and then trade Micah for 2 first-round picks.
Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to pay CeeDee, but that might be what the Cowboys end up having to do.
Yeah, at this point,
with the way they're rolling.
The only ones they're going to pay are themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, they talk about keeping their own guys. We don't get guys from other teams. We finally got a number 88 that's given to him to carry on the 88 on this Cowboy team. But again, remember, it was an old Arkansas teammate. His name was Lamb, and he was number 88 for Jerry Jones in Arkansas. And he had passed away recently when we drafted CeeDee Lamb. He said that this is in memory of one of my good friends passed away. It's also keeping the 88, all the specials, and we're going to let this guy go after 5 years? A guy who's been proven every year to be basically the best in the slot, without question among any receiver in the NFL for 5 straight years, and one of the best receivers in the NFL overall, at least 1 or 2. I mean, you're going to take him 1, 2, or 3 up there. I mean, I think he's not going lower than 2. And you got to just let him, what? You got to not pay him what he is worth because you want leaves to fall? and you're surprised now he's at $35 million. I mean, this is the Jerry Jones stupidity, Stephen Jones stupidity, and it seems like it's going to continue. That's one guy. The other guy, it's funny, we're not able to talk about Micah today, but the other guy we had his youth football camp was Dak Prescott. And he spoke a lot today about his foot situation, contract situation, even a little CeeDee Lamb, and how the season feels for him going forward. But let me first start off with that kind of comment I had about the comparison of Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. On Speak, which is on FS1, Fox Sports, Joy Taylor said that basically, with Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, during the regular season, they're basically the same player. And, there they have Shady McCoy and they have other people talking shit about the Cowboys constantly. And when you look at their numbers, I don't know if that's accurate or not, because, number one, I want to make sure I make this clear. I posted the video, James Jones, one of the fairest announcers out there, they wanted to say, who's better? Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott? And James Jones said, what do you mean? Are you talking about as a team situation or as a player situation? And they say, no, player only.
You got to be specific.
You say team, you say player. Now you go look at the player as a quarterback. Who's better? James Jones said there's no comparison. Dak Prescott, I don't care about the stat. He's a lot better than Jalen Hurts. The only thing Jalen Hurts does better than Dak Prescott is the read option and the tush push. That's what James Jones said, and he's right.
Which even the tush push it feels like a team effort type
right.
of play, right?
It is.
It's
It's
more
of
on the quarterback.
Well, he runs it. He runs it well.
He does.
But the thing is that it's a play that's run from the coaching staff. Like they devised this, and he just played into it. And he does it well. But those are the only two things he does better than Dak Prescott. I'm talking about throwing the ball, accuracy, pocket presence, all these things. Dak is better than Jalen Hurts. Now, people say, well, does he win? Then Shady McCoy, the asshole Eagle, he goes, but does he win more? Well, then that's when James Jones said, hold on, are we talking about player or are we talking about team?
Yeah.
Team, you need a defense and coaches, and that's what James Jones said. He goes, a team, you got defense, you got coaches, you got other positions, other breakdown. We're talking about players here, because you said player, so we're going to stick to player. And you talk about player, individually, Dak is better than Jalen Hurts, no question. And that's across the board. And pretty much everyone agrees. Now, you talk about who wins what games in the playoffs, and Jalen Hurts got to the Super Bowl, but it's not the Jalen Hurts Eagles. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's my point. I do the same thing when people say, well, Dak can't win this game. Well, it's not the Dak Cowboys. God damn it. It's the Dallas Cowboys. So when you talk about individual, Dak is better than Jalen Hurts as an individual quarterback as far as the skills of quarterbacking. As far as, the team, Jalen Hurts has gone farther than Dak Prescott as a team with his teammates, with the defense and the coaches and the rest of the guys. And that's the point James Jones is making. Now, the point I'm making is when you look at Dak's numbers, all right, over last year in 2023 in the regular season, they were both 1-1 against each other. They played 17 games, all right. Quarterback record for Dak as a team, 12-5 for the Eagles, 11-6. Dak had a 69.5 completion percentage. Jalen Hurts, 65.4. All right, so about 4% better completion percentage. Passing yards, over 4,500 for Dak, only a little over 38 for Jalen Hurts. Passing yards per pass, 7.7 for Dak, 7.2 for Jalen Hurts. Passing yards per game, 265 for Dak, 226 for Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
Passing touchdowns, 36 for Dak, 23 for Hurts. It's a big difference there. Now we know Hurts gets another 15 on the ground running the ball in, but for the tush push, like we said, he does that better. We understand that. Interceptions. Dak throws a lot more than Jalen Hurts. Dak threw 9 interceptions last year. Okay. Jalen Hurts last year throwing less, threw 15.
Oh.
Yeah. And the quarterback rating, Dak is a 105.9 last year. Jalen Hurts was at 89.1. Just trying to say, as an overall quarterback in a regular season, Dak last year at least destroyed Jalen Hurts. With the quarterback stat numbers, with his quarterback ability to play, he's just a better quarterback overall than Jalen Hurts. And you got to think about when you say, oh well, these were games where Dak had big leads, or Dak, the Cowboys were winning, and that. Well, when Dak threw his final pass in each of his games, this year, I'll say this in the fourth quarter, week 1, 11 minutes and 42 seconds in the fourth quarter was the last pass Dak threw. Week 2, these are all the games that they won, by the way, the Cowboys won. Week 2, it was 9 minutes and 18 seconds in the fourth quarter. The last pass was thrown by Dak, meaning that Dak did not have to throw the ball anymore. The game was in control. Week 4, 8 minutes and 42 seconds in the fourth quarter. Week 5, 12 minutes and 58 seconds. Week 8, 12 minutes and 19 seconds. Week 10, a minute 29 seconds in the third quarter. The last pass he threw. Week 11, 8 minutes and 3 seconds in the fourth. Week 12, 5 minutes and 59 seconds in the fourth. And Week 18, 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. No quarterback sat out more in the fourth quarter than Dak Prescott. Which just tells you, imagine if he had played the ends of these games. Imagine if Dak had played the fourth quarter all the way through. And these games I just mentioned to you. About what? About 6 games? About 7, 8 games. If he had played the last 11 minutes, 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 12 minutes. There was a game he last threw he made was in a minute 29 seconds in the third quarter. If he had played out these games all the way to the end, he would have had over 5,000 passing yards. He probably would have had, easily, obviously, over 40 touchdowns. I'm just saying, the thing is that Dak's numbers would have even been better than that. Would have been even a bigger, wider gap between him and Jalen Hurts. So just on that side of things, I just wanted to touch on that. I thought that was interesting. Since we're talking about Dak now and his youth camp that he had today, where he answered a lot of questions about his current situation. So let's start off with talking about Dak Prescott on the boot and that walking boot photo on his right foot, contract talks and more. Training camp, of course, as we know, is approaching very fast, right around the corner for the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. Tuesday, all right, today, marks the 2-week mark before the Cowboys head off to Oxnard. In 2 weeks from today, the Cowboys will be on a plane, landing and checking into a hotel in Oxnard, California. And they'll be doing that to prepare for the 2024 training camp and season. But even in these last few weeks of the offseason, Dak Prescott was at Carroll Senior High School this morning. And as he usually does, he's giving back to the community. I mean, he's got that Walter Payton Man of the Year for a reason. But he's giving back to the community with his annual youth camp, serving 1st through 8th grade students. So he's got all kids from 1st to 8th grade doing a great thing here for the community. And it's not his first youth camp, by the way. It's become a ritual of his to, in early July, to kind of spend time with the youth, teach them some football along the way, in these off seasons. Even for him, it's an opportunity to be kind of young and, even with the busy football life he has.
Yeah, probably hits a little differently now that he's a dad as well.
Yeah, that's true too. But again, kind of, puts the busy life of football, his career, football, and contracts, kind of lets him be kind of a kid again for a little bit. And so he did kind of make a comment about the way he's taken upon these youth camps and how he feels on this.
Yeah, he said, quote, "I don't think my approach has really changed. I like to be present wherever I am. When I'm out there, I turn into a kid again. When I go to the 8-year-olds, I'm 8. When I go to the 13, I'm 13. I want to make sure that they leave this camp excited and being fulfilled in their purpose that they came here for."
And that's a great thing for him to do. And I'm sure the kids love seeing Dak there doing the thing. He was running around, handing the ball off. He was talking to the kids, some of his favorite players or his favorite plays. He also was over there doing a little it's hard to explain, but basically movement, foot movement, pocket presence. And, you see him bouncing around that right foot. I have some video up there. He's bouncing around the right foot with these kids, just walking
Football form?
Well,
is that maybe the right terminology?
Just moving right, moving left with the ball, and then throwing the ball. But it was more like teaching the kids. He was kind of running through it. But I'm saying he's doing all of this, of course, without a boot on his foot. And he's doing, again, not that saying that any kind of work he did today is comparable to any actual football practice or football game work. It's not.
But fishing in Cabo is also, or wherever the heck he was fishing at.
Cabo, yeah.
I'm just saying, not exactly football work either, but he had a boot on then.
Right, but the point is,
trying to be fair across the board in the sense of, he wasn't doing football stuff, but he also wasn't wearing the boot.
Yeah, no, and even, I got to say again, this is not really football stuff he's doing, although it is a youth camp for kids he's running around with from 1st to 8th grade. But we know the headlines. We know about Das Boot, right? Dak's boot right there on the left side. He went to Cabo with his girl. You see him there again, we are assuming he also went and to Tyron Smith's wedding as well in this whole situation. It was part of this whole vacation. But point is that he's wearing that boot in his right foot on that left side of in the left picture there, and then you see him a couple days later, just some boot boys in Mexico. There, his right foot there, no boot on that tattooed leg.
Yeah, and obviously Dak spoke about the boot gate, if you want to call it.
Yeah, and again, this situation in today's youth camp was a great opportunity for him to kind of recenter, and give back to the community, but also, he got a chance to address this boot gate situation. What did he say, baby, about this?
I'm great. Honestly, I'm getting older. It's the same ankle that I snapped and had surgery on 4 years ago. So a couple of hard days of training and you get a little sore. Then you go on a fishing trip and you want to protect it. Make sure that things don't get worse. Literally, it's absolutely nothing. People are reaching, trying to make things that they aren't. I'm getting older and having to take care of my body and be smart. If I have to take precautions and lessen something by putting on a boot, I'll do it. Sorry it caused such a whirlwind.
Now, I do want to say that it's just like his maintenance to that leg. It's probably going to always have to happen. When he's 45, he's going to probably still wear a boot once in a while to kind of maintain maybe some pain or swelling that may come with that. But he can get through a week of football and then, on Monday wear the boot. Maybe it could be something as simple as that.
Dak is being very proactive when it comes to taking care of himself and his body. I know that, back when we've talked about the Tom Brady stuff, I know Dak has actually praised Tom Brady for not just obviously being one of the top quarterbacks, but keeping himself in football shape at such a high level for so long. So,
yeah, I mean, Dak is definitely learning from that, trying to keep, this boot to help, maintain any swelling, maintain any kind of inconvenience or uncomfortableness. Again, he had a couple days of practice, he said. Put the boot on, right? So, just to make sure it doesn't swell up for his fishing trip. Seems like he's done a good job with that. I'm not worried about the boot situation anymore. The boot gate is boot over, as far as I'm concerned. Boot the boot.
Yeah, scoot the boot.
Yeah, boot the boot. And then, so let's go back to contract talks, because that to me is one of the bigger things here. And so
everyone's favorite off-season activity, pocket watching.
Well, we got to watch what I don't really care what he gets paid as much as hating the team. It's more about we know the Dak haters really care, but the thing is, what are we going to do at quarterback? We know what we got this year with Dak, Cooper Rush and Trey Lance, but next year none of these guys are under contract. Next year we still haven't done anything with, and even like Ian Rappaport and other people from the national media, they're like, what is Jerry doing taking so long here? So what did Dak say about the contract situation?
There's been conversations back and forth, obviously of the contract variety. But as y'all know, I'm going to let my agent do that, especially as we get right here into training camp. Day one of training camp, my mind flips to obviously helping out my team with everything I can in the organization and to make sure I'm my best and everyone around me is their best. The money and all that will take care of itself.
I mean, he's right. I mean, Jerry Jones is going to be paying more and more and more. That's all it is. Again, this is from Ian Rappaport. Yeah. He kind of suggested that the deal might be only for like 2 years instead of a 3 or 4 year deal, but it will be closer to $60 million than 55 if he takes a shorter deal. Is what I'm hearing.
I just found it very interesting that Dak used the specific language of, I let my agent handle that, but day one of training camp, my mind goes straight to the football. It kind of implies like, hey, until then, there's still a little bit of room in my mind for other contractual things. So that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know what right now, of course, there's going to be that talk around him when it comes to the contract and the extension. But I think it's more about, when football's on and he's at training camp, he's not thinking about the money. He doesn't have time to think about the money situation at that point.
Football things to think about.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to get timing down. He's got to get cohesion down. He's got to learn whatever new wrinkles are thrown in there. He's got to master these things. He ain't thinking about where we at in this contract. He's under contract. He's going to play out his contract, and he's our starting quarterback in 2024. We'll have to see what happens after this. But either way, listen, the important thing here, I think, to take note of is that there's been conversations about his contract and back and forth. This really more than we've heard about anyone's contract. CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott. Even Dak, we haven't heard that much. We heard they're fine, they're happy with the situation, and it just keeps going and waiting. As Trevor Lawrence signed for $55 million. You know what I'm saying? So Jerry Jones is waiting, and numbers keep going up and up and up. So, contract situation, not a surprise. That they're just talking, chilling, and not really worrying about that. He can get a deal anytime, I think, even during the season.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Dak's situation is a little bit different
and
than
CeeDee
obviously
and all that.
CeeDee and,
for sure. So, as we wrap this up, Dak Prescott was wrapping up his camp on Tuesday, and he did set his sights on his annual trip with his team. Remember, he has his own little vacation with his teammates. He's done it for the last, 2-3 years?
Yeah.
They went to Georgia last year. And
pretty much post-pandemic, they've done something. So, I think the first year they went to Georgia and, right? I just said, wasn't or was that last year? I thought that was the first year.
Well, last year, I don't know if they went twice, but last year they went to Georgia to do the on the lake.
Yeah, Lake Lanier and all that fun stuff.
And but they did the fun stuff, but they also did that stuff that the Cowboys are actually using too. Military kind of group there.
McCarthy talked about it during some of the OTAs and stuff. They took a day off from the football stuff to do the leadership mentorship thing that these former
Marines,
Navy SEALs, Marines,
Marines and Navy SEAls. But those are the same guys that were working. That's the same group, that's the same company that Dak hired when he went on his Georgia trip last summer, or not last summer, but before last training camp, and was with his receivers and his tight ends and his running backs, and try to get some cohesiveness and connection. And so he did say that he's, after wrapping up this his youth camp on Tuesday, he will be back on his annual, cohesion trip with his teammates. I think the first year, they were on a little boating trip where they were deep sea, fishing and stuff. I think that would have been one of the first years they went out together. It was a smaller thing. It's getting bigger and bigger. And he said he's going to do it again, in the next 2 weeks and get this thing done. He said he's going to get his pass catching group, and they're going to bond over the weekend, over a long weekend, and connect together and get on the same page on things before leaving Dallas and making the trip to Oxnard in a couple of weeks. So, they asked Dak, how are you feeling about this offseason? And where you're going with this as you enter training camp with your, the pass catching guys in there, right? What did he say?
Dak said, quote, "Excited as ever. I had a great offseason. Excited to get going here in the next couple days, taking this trip with my receivers and tight ends, just getting back and getting some work in with them. That will only expedite my excitement and our process to make sure when we hit camp, we're rolling." I
do think that no matter what people win a Super Bowl, don't win a Super Bowl, but I think that is a big help for the team. Like guys like Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, and others. Even you can throw Schoonmaker in there and other guys, Ferguson, whoever. You get on the same page with these guys on the wrinkles, the new wrinkles of the offensive game plan. And so you're not going 6 weeks without contact with these players, with your teammates. You're going 5 weeks without contact, 1 week of acclimation with your group, with your crew there, and then training camp. And then you get into the real work. Starts then. So I always love that Dak does these things. But I want to make sure I go back to the pass catching situation. Okay, he said he's going to do his trip with his receivers before camp, as he's done the last several years. And he said the plan is for CeeDee Lamb to be in attendance. So CeeDee Lamb might be holding out in training camp in Oxnard, but he's not holding out on the Cowboy offense. So he will be with Dak Prescott, it sounds like. According to Dak, the plan is that CeeDee Lamb will be joining Dak in this little getaway, in this little retreat. Dak Prescott said he has thrown, quote, a good amount of passes to CeeDee this offseason. And Dak also said that, of course, like I said, tight ends, receivers, running backs, expected to work out at a remote location before the start of training camp, as they've done pretty much every year the last 3-4 years. And the plan is that CeeDee Lamb will attend. So that's kind of big news there. So if you're wondering what CeeDee Lamb's doing this next 2 weeks, connecting with Dak again. even if he's not going to be at training camp because the Joneses don't want to pay what he's worth. But Dak, when they asked Dak about CeeDee Lamb, Dak said, quote, CeeDee is going to be ready, end quote.
Yeah, you can obviously tell it by his offseason. It's not like CeeDee Lamb's, just like chilling at home playing video games or whatever.
Yeah, you can check what he's
still
doing.
Putting in the work. He's just not doing it through official Dallas Cowboys capacity because they have not paid him to what he feels is appropriate for him to participate in Dallas Cowboy activities as of now.
Exactly. So, listen.
I don't have to explain holdouts to you guys.
We know that CeeDee Lamb is gonna do what he has to do for the business side of things, as everybody should, and I don't blame him. And Jerry Jones got to get and Stephen Jones.
We're here continuously scratching our heads trying to figure out what the heck our front office is doing.
Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they're the ones that are just. Are they offering him $30 million? Is that what they're doing and disrespecting him? Because that'll get CeeDee Lamb traded right the fuck out of here. And with him and then we go no Dak and no Micah. I don't know what we're going to do with our draft picks. If Jerry Jones isn't responsible for them, who knows? My point is, it's a rebuild. If this is the route we keep going in. This is a rebuild season with a lot of good players. But it's a rebuild season, and next year's going to be a real rebuild season if we keep heading this direction. But we'll see. Dak said he's going to have his mind set for football here as soon as training camp starts. Dak said that him and CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks and Tolbert and all the tight ends, receivers, running backs will be at his retreat, connecting, getting on the same page. That's a great thing. So Dak's doing all the things he needs to do. He's focused on that. His foot's okay. Some people are saying he should have used that more as a leverage for his contract or something. But in the end, Dak don't play games. Dak just is going to be the best he can be when it's time to switch on the NFL mind. Right now he's an off-season mind, right? He's chilling with his girl. He's going to weddings. He's planning a little retreat here, deep sea fishing. Great, but when it's time for football and training camp starts, it's all football for him. Yeah. It's not about the contract. His agent will handle that. So, by the way, I just want to throw this in there. One of these other pass catchers that he talks about is going to be there. I think it's going to be a real important training camp for him. Is Jalen Brooks. Now we know about Jalen Tolbert, and I do have confidence that he will do good. But I'm curious how it's going to look for that 3-4 spot. Because he's going to have his pass catchers out there. I guarantee you Jalen Brooks is going to be ready. He's going to be out there with Dak. He's going to be connecting with Dak. And Jalen Brooks, the 7th-round pick last year, he's been putting real work this offseason. He's been really getting his blocking down. He's a good blocker already coming out of college. But he's even improving his blocking and some reps he's doing out there. And it's funny, he's in his garage, like we do it, baby, when we work out.
Yeah.
He's in his garage working out. That's a man's man, right? He's just doing his thing. It doesn't have to be at no, specialized cowboy center. He's doing it on his own. He's working out. And that wide receiver, the third wide receiver spot, even though we know Jalen Tolbert's got the inside track, you never know what happens in training camp. And again, knock on wood, there's no injuries. Knock on wood, there's no issues. But I want to see both these guys have their best.
You never know.
I want to have both these guys. I want Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert to have their best training camp they can have, and may the best man win. But again, right now, I'm still saying keep an eye on Jalen Brooks. Try to make a run. I'm not saying he's going to get that number 3. He's at number 4, and he's probably going to stay there. But don't be surprised if he starts looking better and better, and you start saying, then the question that comes in, does Jalen Tolbert kind of stay a step ahead of him, and he does better and better, or does he take a stumble here and there, and now what do we do? So something to keep an eye on. But yes, Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Brandon Cooks, and CeeDee Lamb, plus all the other receivers, tight ends, and running backs will be joining Dak Prescott in a remote area, in a retreat where they will be connecting and being getting that cohesive mindset for training camp, acclimating to training camp together as a team on offense. So that's what we'll be looking forward to. I guess you could say you'll see some videos, some news clips or something like this, some reports of the Cowboys all hanging out in the next week and a half or so. We'll of course have that for you guys. Definitely have the videos for you guys to catch that when it happens. And hey, we'll see. Hopefully we're all on the same page. These players on the same page, and Dak and the rest of the Cowboys, and CeeDee Lamb there, right? He gets paid. We're all in good shape here, and the Cowboys will have a nice little training camp and hopefully a great 2024 season. I'm not holding my breath though. They got to show it before we can say it's happening.
Yeah.
So that's all the news on my side. Maybe hit up a couple comments, do some shout outs. We're calling it a night here on My Cowboys Family.
So some interesting back and forths here, by the way. Appreciate everybody. But like I said, in one of my earlier comments, Ready Red is ready to move on from Dak. Of course, Smode, and they both kind of bring up some decent points, right? Now, Double R saying Dak will be remembered like Dan, I'm guessing Marino, right? Dan Mario, a hell of a player, but never got a ring, so he has that going for himself. I know AOD compared him to, he's basically like our generation's Romo, right? Which honestly, I think, at least from the Cowboys' perspective, you can clearly see the attempt at avoiding the contract situation with Romo here with this like second go around with Dak, right? I do think the Cowboys are in some ways concerned to tie themselves longer than they need to, but they don't necessarily just want Dak to walk out the door. I truly believe that. They are stuck between that place, which is why when you brought up the 2-year contract, I'm like, well, that actually makes a lot of sense, possibly for all sides involved. So, Seabass cracking me up too. Hold on, Judge said, why would you pay CD $35 million if you don't have a quarterback next year?
I mean, again, it's a valid question. That's why the Cowboys should sign Dak Prescott, in my mind.
No, Ready Red said, in response to a comment by Asmodeus, regular season numbers are great, but we play for chips, and then playoff numbers are cheeks. Asmodeus said, well, you can't put the cart before the horse. Regular season is crucial in order to move on. It's like you're just dismissing it. So I hear both sides of it. I see both perspectives.
I hear both sides, and listen,
you don't get to the playoffs. You don't get. How else do we also compare players to get them? Just for our team, we don't only look at their playoff stats. We look at their whole season stats. So
right, but
you can't say they don't matter. But
I will say, I have to say this though. It's not always on Dak why we lose in the playoffs. I mean, Dak, I would say, that Packer loss we had, and then that Rams loss we had. We beat Seattle. So I'm just saying those first 3 games in the playoffs that he had, I'm going to be honest, Dak was the best player on that field for all those 3 games. Even if we lost 2 of them, he's the one that brought us back in 2 out of those 3 games against the Rams and against the Packers, even if we lost them.
Kenneth Casey said, when it's win or go home, we go home. Now it's win or get out this year.
Well, here's what I'm trying to say. Even though I agree with you guys, what I'm trying to say is Dak Prescott put up regular season numbers which are marred by easy schedule or shitty teams. But you know who else plays shitty teams and has an easy schedule sometimes? Mahomes and the Chiefs. I'm just saying Jalen Hurts had the same schedule as we had, basically. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that you're not going to find a quarterback better than Dak Prescott next year on this team. You're just not going to get that. You're not going to draft him. You're not going to trade for him. You're not going so already we're going to go downgrade our quarterback position. The question is, how much do you mind downgrading the position? But how much are you willing to pay for the next guy to step up in there? Because again, we know it's about the money. We know that you don't want to really pay Dak $60 million, and he's going to need 8 weapons still on the offense. Okay, so I guess that's one of those comments you can say. Well, he's a very good quarterback, a top 10 guy. When he's got everybody on the same page with him, and the coaches are on the same page with him, and maybe if he gets an easy team, he's a top 2-3 quarterback in the league. Last year, he was a top 2 quarterback in the NFL regular season. But the playoffs, again, I put some of that on Dak Prescott, but far from all of it. I put it more on Dan Quinn this last year in the Packers. It's more on Dan Quinn this last year than Dak Prescott. And Dan Quinn's gone. So I'm just saying, like, when it's really on, Dak made mistakes, but he was not the reason we lost. Other guys made mistakes, but the reason was defense, I think, mainly. So you got to keep in mind, it's a team sport. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers could get the Cowboys back into that game with how badly the Cowboy defense played for most of that game, and the way that Dan Quinn let our small linebacking core go up against 13 personnel without even batting an eye or making a change. That's not Dak Prescott. So it comes down to, is Dak Prescott worth that money to keep the offense rolling, but he's taking up so much of the the cap? Is that going to be worth it? Now, we know we can divvy up the cap and push the money down and all that stuff. We got to pay it later, so we won't be able to make as many moves later on in the decade. But do you want to try to keep winning now, or do you just want to start over again? You're not going to get rid of CeeDee Lamb because you got no one to throw it to him. You got rid of Dak because you're not going to sign him. And And Micah, I would not let Micah go. I would, maybe trade him, but what you want to do is, if you're going to keep him, you just keep tagging him. You could tag him for 7, you get him you could be a Cowboy for 7 or 8 years, tagged and then retagged. And he's still going to be cheaper than what if the Cowboys paid for him. Now, but after 7 or 8 years in the NFL, you think Micah's going to be worth that kind of money? The answer is no. It sucks for Micah. It's kind of using them all up and then spitting them out. But if players are going to do that, then the owners are going to be allowed to work whatever they want to work with, when it comes to using the cap or using these tags wisely. So I can't get mad at Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones for tagging Micah till his 7th year and then trading him. I mean, that's smart if you're not going to, if he's declining. It's kind of like Zeke. If we had just tagged him all the way till his 8th year, it would have been great. We would have got him for cheap. Yeah. And so it's just the way you use it. So that's what it comes down to with Micah. With CeeDee Lamb, again, I understand what Rolando said. If you have a rookie quarterback or a shitty quarterback, Trey Lance ain't the guy. And you're not going to re-sign Dak, then CeeDee Lamb is just going to be wasted out there. That's a good point. What are the Joneses thinking? I think right now, they don't know what the fuck they're thinking. They're crazy. Because you're going to blow up the whole team because, it's at the end of these guys' contracts or maybe some, end of Dak's career-ish kind of situation. I don't know. It seems like they don't want to really win. It seems the Joneses just want to stay competitive. And that's what bugs me the most about the Joneses. Competitive ain't never going to win you a Super Bowl. At least, going for it. Going all in a real way. With this team, going to give us the best chance. But now we're going to have to wait another decade.
Yes.
Probably, unfortunately. I'm
now,
talking too
I won't
much.
make you wait a decade for the final shout-outs
Let's
here of the night. But first, have to shout out the people representing on this board. Although, really, currently, it is the person representing because you're Cash App King and your stream boss. And I believe your current leader on the board is Mr. Lincoln Kane himself. Lincoln
Kane, LC. Check him out from Australia. He is the sponsor of the week, and he is the Cash App King, and he's also the leader so far this week on the Cash App and the sponsor of the week board. So big shout-outs. Star level member, Lincoln Kane. Appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Also, Godless Manitoban down to 20 points. So
shout out to you.
20 away from being off of there. But right now he's repping that board. And big shout out to J-LEW 44. He's our membership gifting champion for 8 out of 9 weeks. So big shout out to him. Although now this week we still got a battle. It's 1-1 right now. 1 gifted membership from Brandon J. And 1 gifted membership from Skeptical Fan. We'll see who takes it down on Sunday. Who takes the championship, so to speak. On that side, on the Cash App side, on the overall side. In the meantime, though, you see the leaders. You see the people repping the way. And yeah, big shout out today to Skeptical Fan. The only drop of the night today here. Outside of the After Dark drops that were when we were off. So big shout out to Skeptical. Extra special shout out for the man staying Skeptical Fan. Much love to you. Now, baby, do those final shout outs and let's get out of here.
Ready, Red, much love. I have a feeling we'll be seeing you later.
Yeah, After Dark.
Rodriguez, have a great night. This is Mr. Seabass, thank you.
Yeah, After Dark as well.
Trust me, yeah, I have to, or I do agree with you. I'm obviously more on the quote-unquote pro Dak train here, so to speak, but I do understand where Ready Red and AOD and others are coming from.
Listen,
it's not baseless.
Yeah. Listen,
it's not baseless.
If you're measuring the money now, when do you cut the ties and rebuild? Because who's the quarterback you're going to bring in here?
Whether you do it now, whether you do it in a year or two,
who's the
it has to happen. You got to rip that Band-Aid off and suffer through the pain of finding the next quarterback.
There could always be the option of getting like a Derek Carr or someone like that in here for a lot cheaper, for $35 million a year. There's that option. Or there's an option of going with a Trey Lance for like $10 million a year. Anyway. That's the options we got going after. I don't think drafting a rookie is gonna happen. And if it does, he won't be ready for a couple of years. So I'm just saying, like, that's rebuild. If we get rid of Dak and don't re-sign CD and trade Micah, it's rebuild city for 3 to 5 years in Dallas.
So Jet-LEW 44, much love to you. Yeah, we'll see you there as well. That's Modius representing in the house, and
yes.
Hey, at this point, Micah's gonna play offense and Dak is gonna play defense, right?
Yeah.
Double R, stay safe out there. Glad you enjoyed your adult libations. Let me keep rolling here. I think, and just in case, I know I shouted you out already, but just in case, right? We got Ready Red, Fernando Rodriguez, Mr. Seabass, Double R, Godless Manitoban.
Hey,
with
nice.
the eyeballs always watching. Revelation Journalist, hey, with the truest statement of the night, the front office is the only constant for the last 30 years.
Yeah, and we haven't won a Super Bowl.
You said it, not us.
It ain't Dak, it ain't Romo.
Tom, what's up? I have to admit, I love the profile picture. AOD said, tag them all. You get a tag. Oprah Winfrey style. Even you, Least Side Harold.
Not enough tags.
Real shit, save it for
After dark. Yeah, he
Kenneth
said
Casey,
he
have a
can't stay
great
out.
night. Thanks for hanging with us here.
It's past his bedtime. Daddy got to put him to bed. Real shit.
Thomas Garrett, the superior Garrett.
Hell yeah.
We have Revelation Journalist. Just trying to make sure I don't miss any shout-outs here. Beetlejuice, what's up? Swooping in and saying hello. Let me see, is that as far back as I can go? I think it is. So I say Aguilar 04. Take it easy. You have a great night.
You have a great night. You have a great night. You have a great night.
See? Yeah, so I think that's everyone here. Again, huge shout out to everyone here chilling, hanging with us. Make sure to take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere on social media. But baby, there's a reason that we do what we do here. Okay? Go ahead.
And one of those things is shouting out J-LEW 44.
And it hasn't come through yet, so
I see it on my side. Dropping $1.15 holler in the super chat. Second drop of the night from everybody. So Skeptical Fan is joined now by J-LEW 44 as the only droppers of the night. And when that goes through, Godless should be at 19 points on the stream boss. So yes, I wanted to make sure we got that out. But baby, I wanted to ask you a question. Why do we do this here on My Cowboys Family every night for over 7 years?
it's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. Here on this channel, we rep the star over everything and everyone, over Dak, over Jerry Jones, over Troy Aikman, over Emmitt Smith, over Roger, over everyone, over Tom Landry. It's the star over everything and everyone on this team. Remember that. That star over everything. So that's the way we always roll here. 7 years plus now, in our 8th year on YouTube, right here in My Cowboys Family. So never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond, baby, and beyond. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long, all night. Thank you guys on that, and also appreciate Skeptical Fan and J-LEW 44 dropping the love from above, and everybody on the After Dark Fun dropping the love. It would probably be a very short stream tonight. Gonna do a little music, a little chilling, a little relaxation there. So you guys are more than welcome to join me over there, MCF After Dark. You can just search it, and you'll find it. If you really care, you just type it in your search bar, and you'll find it on YouTube. J-LEW 44, there's his drop, 115 in the house. Much love to him, and Godless should be down to like 19 points, I think, right now. We'll see. So, again, big shout out to J-LEW, who's also right now currently in the top 5 of the leaderboard overhead there. So on that note, guys, thank you for dropping in here, dropping the knowledge, dropping the love as we clock out and drop out for the night and relock and reload for another show, probably Fan Friday. Thursday or Fan Friday, get ready for it. And we'll have our finale on Sunday, wrap up 5 streams in 2 weeks, and crown some champions. Mm-hmm. So as we, and of course, hey, maybe we get CeeDee Lamb signed, or something's, extensions are signed left and right. Who knows, right? Before then, we'll have to wait and see. But as you know, baby, before we can do that again, as we drop out of here for the night, what do we got to do here before we officially say goodnight to everybody and drop out of here?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. That beat's been officially dropped. And hey, thanks for dropping in here with us, going through the last 2 days of Dallas Cowboy news, info, and updates right here on this channel, right here, for another MCF Cowboys chat, baby. You know how this goes. Yes, talked about Dak, and you can see he's wearing his pro camp right there. He's doing his youth camp. That was from today. You got CeeDee Lamb. He's working out on his own, but he's also doing his youth camp stuff. We talked about all these situations upcoming for training camp. And, of course, a little trash talk there between Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions. I mean, from the Lions. I would say, but the real man from Detroit, Jordan Lewis. Yeah, kind of putting his 2 cents on the thing there on what was said by Amon-Ra St. Brown. We heard from everybody, talked about everything right here on MCF, where it's always about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything, guys. Never forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. It's you guys. Thank you for rocking with us. Can't do this without you all. Can't do it without you guys hitting that like button for the stream, hitting subscribe to the channel. Almost at 40,000 family members, aka subscribers. So thank you for that. Subscribing to the channel, hitting that notification bell, setting it to all videos, put it on to all videos. And of course, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at MyCowboysFamily, X, Twitter. Jump in that Discord. You know we're going live as well. And if you're watching us on the replay, aside from doing all those things that I just said to do, make sure you also try to leave a comment. Try to answer it, give it a like, a love, whatever. Appreciate everybody again in here. Thank you all. Stay safe. Much love. We'll see you in a couple days or less. Peace. And never ever forget. Go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.